ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us look at the text. Verse number 16. We saw an introduction to Maya Shakti Upadana Karanam in verse number 15. Nimitta Karanam, the knowledge, the intelligence behind the universe. Behind means there is no behind, etc., but it's just a manner of speaking. The intelligence is called nimitta, and then upadana is the raw material. The name and the form that we see is upadanam. And so this upadanam etayoho upadanam ekam sukshmam sad avyayam. It is sat. The upadanam is non-separate from sat, and everything is sat, just like the pot is clay. Pot looks separate because we have that idea of its separation, but really speaking, it is nothing but clay. That is the idea, that is the oneness that is being talked about here. So the upadana karana is the one that is being talked about in verse number 15, a very important verse. We have spent some time on that. Yatha iva mrid ghatadinam. So this is how the vichara should be done. So having talked from verse number 12 to 15, how to conduct the enquiry, now the author turns to a very important question from which is going to be addressed from verse 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 16 to 21 is another topic. And what is that topic? Namely, the mix up between Atma and Anatma. That there is a mix up. Otherwise, nobody would be here. If there was no mix up, there would be Jnanam all the time. Nobody would be here. Nobody would be trying to ascertain or trying to discern between the Atma and Anatma. So, here, in an attempt to show the differences between Atma and Anatma, Atma I, Anatma not I. Mind you, this is a difference, so to speak, only at the level of the this is the difference only at the level of at the perceptual level. This distinction has to be made, and at the quote unquote experiential level, at the level of whatever experiences one is having, this distinction needs to be made. Because, really speaking, there is no distinction between Anatma and Atma except for this one fact: Anatma is nothing but Atma, Atma is not Anatma. That's the only difference. So, what do you mean Anatma is nothing but Atma? Whatever you see is Sat. Whatever has name and form cannot really survive, cannot really be called a thing without the presence of Atma. But the presence of Atma is impossible to delineate because it is not an object. It's not a gross object, it's not even a subtle object that can be perhaps objectified through the witness as a, sakshi pratyaksha. Just like we objectify space and time, we cannot objectify that. And so, therefore, here the Atma, the presence of the Atma is missed everywhere. And as Adi Shankara points out in the introductory bhashya to the to the Brahma Sutras, his introductory bhashya first gives the difference, all the reasons why Atma and Anatma are different, and then after that he says, Tadapi, even though it's so different, you know, there is adhyasa, there is mix up, there is a mistake made. And this mix up is because of the identification with the body mind sense complex. That is sahaja, that is God given, that is Ishvara made, natural. But still, that identification extends to include one's own ajnanam, and because of which the identification that is made is a mistake, uh, and it concludes the identification is based on a mistake that I am this much alone. So it concludes wrongly that I am this much alone, and then whatever I can see, I objectify like the body, etc., and I think it to be me. Body is me, all right, but I am not the body. So, this kind of a selective negation has to be done, and that is the purpose of these verses. So, with this brief introduction, let the verses speak for themselves. Number 16. Ahame kopi sukshmascha jnata sakshi sadavyayah. अहमेकोऽपि सूक्ष्मश्च ज्ञाता साक्षी सदव्ययः तदहं नात्र सन्देहः विचारः सोऽयमीदृशः. The introductory verse hopes to remove this mix up in this section by saying that now instead of Jagat Vichara, we are going to do Jiva Vichara. What is this Jiva we are doing? So, the subject change is heralded here by the use of the word Aham right at the beginning. So, we are not talking of the Jagat, we are not talking of Ishvara, we are not talking of Upadana Karana, Maya, nothing like that. We are talking about now we are progressed or changed the topic to Jiva Vichara. Jiva Vichara means the enquiry into oneself as the as an individual and what is the truth of this individual. So here the view of Vedanta, the vision of Vedanta is put in the front, right front and center. So what is this? Aham. What is aham? Ekaha. Ekaha. Aham ekaha. I am. I am one. One means what? I am the only sentient person, individual entity in the whole universe. Aham ekaha. But then there are so many people claiming aham, aham, aham. How can I say aham ekah? Because the word aham here is used for Chaitanya, consciousness. From the standpoint of consciousness, there is only one consciousness. Many bodies, minds, senses identified with as such can claim this as oneself. Many bodies can say aham, 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 but it is the same Chaitanya, Deha Avachinna Chaitanya. A consciousness that is as though, we have to add as though everywhere, as though conditioned by the body, by the mind, by the senses. But this conditioning agent, the so called conditioning agent, is mithya. It is not really conditioned. It is the Atma is unconditional. The Aham is not limited by anything. is not delimited by the body or mind or senses or anything else for that matter. But here, the author wants us to get into the habit of identifying with the I as consciousness. So, as we are undergoing these verses, the study of these verses, we quietly move the I, the aham, from the body mind sense complex to consciousness. That is the idea. That is where the identity must be recognized. So, aham ekaha, I am one. So if I am one, I should be able to discern that very easily. So api sukshmascha. Sukshma means this knowledge is subtle. It's not that the Atma is subtle. Atma is sometimes described as subtle so that we don't try to objectify it as one more thing in the universe, yet one another thing in the universe. But the truth is, it's not even subtle. It is subtle only for the purposes of talking about it, because there is no other way of talking about it, so we say subtle. But it's not really subtle, it's not gross, it's not subtle. It is subtle means it is discernible by some sukshma indriyas, by some indriyas, subtle indriyas. We can discern it like sakshi, pratyaksha, etc. No, it is not visible. It is not discernible. We cannot say it is visible. We cannot say it is discernible. And then sukshmascha. And then what else is the Atma? Jnata. Jnata means it's the only thing in the universe. I am the only thing that can say, I know. All the objects are objects of my consciousness, my awareness. The table cannot say, I know, I am. And the chair cannot say, I know, I am. Nothing can say, I know, I am. The only thing that can say, I know, I am is Atma, Jnata. But we don't get stuck up in the Jnata. Otherwise, the Atma will be a permanent Jnata. Jnata is with reference to that which is known. So so in reference to objects, I am the Jnata. In reference to the manifest universe, I am Jnata. Jnata I am in reference to the manifest universe. When we are talking about there not being any universe, then what is that? Then I am a Sakshi, just a witness. Witness to what? Again, whatever is happening within and whatever is happening without, the witnessing continues. And if there is nothing to witness, the status of being a witness resolves. But this Atma, which is Ekaha, which is Sukshmaha, and which is the light of consciousness, because it brings everything to light, itself is lit up by itself, self lit, self referenced, self illumined, self evident, self. That is the I. Everything else is just not even there, as good as not there, because they are all the things in the universe are a dependent reality. This becomes a contemplation. This is what one has to, this is where one has to go. This is the contemplation. And what is the contemplation? Just sit there and then look at everything. You can have an open-eyed meditation, a walking meditation. And each thing you say, this I am objectifying, this I am objectifying. I am the Jnata and I am the Sakshi. In my presence, something is coming to light. In my presence, something is going away. I am witnessing the constant I am the witness of the constant unfoldment of the ever expanding universe. I am that which is self-aware. All things in the universe are objects. Because I can see them, I can objectify them. So in relation to them, I am Jnata. I am Sakshi. So Jnata Sakshi is with reference to things to be illumined, either outside or within. Within I am Sakshi. Hunger is evident to me. Sleep is evident to me. Sleepiness. And then what else? The thirst is evident to me. Time is evident to me. Space is evident to me. All these things are evident to me. What am I? Self-evident. Why not say I am evident to another Atma? Okay, we can say that. I am evident to another Atma. Then what happens? I am evident to another Atma. And then somewhere the buck has to stop. Then another Atma we have to bring in, that can be self-evident. Now that is also not self-evident. Then another Atma, Anyantara Atma, we have to keep bringing. Where is it's like an infinite regress. Where does it stop? It doesn't stop anywhere. And so that is the reason why we have to say, we might as well say that with this conscious being, everything stops. What does it stop? Stops means there is no other source of sentience. We need not look at another source of sentience, another Atma. Why? Because this Atma is enough. This Atma is sufficient. Ekaha, one Atma that I have, that I am, is sufficient. This Atma which I am, which is Sat, which is in relation to the universe, which obtains as the Sakshi, that is enough. If I were not self-evident, then I would look for a source of consciousness, but I happen to be self-evident when? All the time. All the time. In sleep also, the self-evident nature doesn't go away. It does not have a mind, buddhi, to broadcast that. So the mind and the buddhi are in a in a causal form. They have withdrawn. They are not in a place of broadcasting. They are replenishing and recharging. They are included in the sleep. But then when I wake up, immediately I say, I was asleep. And then what? It was not a disturbed sleep. It was a very nice sleep, I can say. That means I am the witness also of sleep. So this Sakshi is the witness of the whole universe outside and is the witness of everything that happens within. When the mind is restless, and I say the mind is restless, that means I'm objectifying the mind. I'm objectifying the body. I'm objectifying the senses. All this is going to come in the next few verses. So I'm going to let the verses talk on their own. Very nice, very powerful verses from 17 to 21 we will see. The verse number 16 is an introduction to what comes, because he wants to make a departure from Jagad Vichara, which happened in the 15th verse, to Atma Vichara, and to the Vichara of the individual, and who am I, this kind of a thing. And so straight away he says, there's no introduction, nothing. Straight away he says, I am Sakshi. I am Atma. I am Jnata. Because every object is known to me. Even if I may not know the name, I'll say, oh, that which looks like a blob, what is that? And that which looks like this, it resembles, and I can use Upama Pramana. It resembles this, but it's not this. What is this? Like there are certain fruits which resemble one another. But then they're not that. Like in the what is that? In the lychee family, there are many fruits. And then you can see that some of them are called Ramphal, and they also have that furry kind of a slightly spiky exterior, same size and same kind of a thing. There are seeds and fruit inside when you open the skin, but then they are slightly different. I can see the difference. I objectify the difference. And so, in relation to this universe, I am just the witness. Everything becomes evident to me. This is a new way of looking at the world. Usually, the way of looking at the world for the people is what? I am I am in relation to this universe. I am targeted. I am a victim of other people's omissions and commissions towards me. Who is feeling that? Everybody. All 8 billion people in the world are feeling that. Everybody is feeling that. And so, therefore, this is something which is so. This is something which is so fascinating. So I am born with a certain kind of a victim consciousness. I have been left out, I have been left behind, nobody cares, nobody loves me, nobody pays attention. What's the point? I'll never get what I want. I'll never have what I deserve. This is the feeling, and this is the prasada of avidya. Avidyayaha prasadaha. This is the gift of avidya. It's a gift you have to return immediately. Some people, even in the world, from some people you cannot accept gifts. Why? Because accepting their gift is not just a presence, is not a present that you say thank you and occasionally you give them something. It's not simple. Accepting their gift ties you, binds you into a series of obligations. If you accept that gift, then you are done in, you know that. Then they will want this, that, or the other. Then they will want you to be grateful, and then they'll want you to be do things for them, which is okay. But then there is a overt dependency that is created by accepting this gift. And therefore, I say, no, thank you. I already have 10 of these. Sorry, I don't want it. Please keep it for yourself or give it to somebody else who is worthy, who is perhaps more worthy than I. You can be humble about it. But I'm sure that there are many instances, at least some instances in your life where you have felt very uncomfortable receiving a present from somebody. Why? Because there is some kind of a hidden agenda. You may not even know what the agenda is, but there is a sense of discomfort. There is a sense of, oh no, I can't handle this, I don't want this, I may not be able to do this. I may not be able to meet all their expectations. And I don't want to be obligated to this person. So similarly, the prasada of avidya is firmly and kindly refused. What is the prasada of avidya? I am victimized. This is what she gives. She wraps it up and she says, see, and she'll give the gift along with a few examples. Very partisan examples from a very partisan standpoint. See, everybody's out to get you. Look at one more proof. Look, I told you, this person doesn't like you. Here's the proof. Avidya will go into the gunny sack of all the gifts that she has, spewing all kinds of victimhood and slathering one with the notion that I'm no good, I'm an idiot. These are all the things. And she's like the another kind of a Santa Claus, goes on distributing gifts, even though all the people don't want it. Who wants to feel victimized? You ask anybody in the world. I don't want to do that. Who wants to feel small? Nobody. Who wants to feel judgmental? No one. Who wants to be self judged? No, nobody. Who wants to feel like they are always making a mistake? Nobody. Who wants to feel like I'm not a very good person? Nobody. Who wants to say all the time I have no self-confidence? If only I had self-confidence, I would be a different person. Nobody. So these gifts must be firmly, kindly but firmly refused. Here she comes and tries to pull one more, gimmick, one more prank by converting every incident in your life to one that of some story. And what is the story? Very sad story. So every story in your life is converted to a tragedy. The effects of Atma Ajnanam is not small. The effects of Atma Ajnanam gives, what is that called? Gives a um, complex, gives a series of complexes. And these are the gifts, so-called gifts, gifts that keeps on giving. And so it gives a series of complexes centered on the I, centered on the world, the Jagat, centered even on Ishvara. Who wants such a gift? Nobody. But then we helplessly accept. Why? Because we have accepted the first gift. What is the first gift? Distrust. Loss of Shraddha is the first gift. Suspect everybody. That's the first gift. We have taken that. Because the child was very small when that breach of trust happened. But now we are not small. Now we are all grown up. And now we can firmly refuse the gifts, the many gifts of Atma Ajnanam which keep on giving. And just say, no, thank you. I am not buying into this idea. This is not the ocean of samsara. This is but the notion of samsara, and so therefore I'm not going to buy into this gift. I don't need this gift in my life. And I'm much better without. Oh, you'll regret it. Doesn't matter. I will take my chances. But then how to say no? How to say no? And to these gifts. It requires the practice, the sadhana here. These are all verses of assimilation, and they have a sadhana on the side. But the sadhana is not replacing the Atmajnanam. The sadhana is an auxiliary, what is that called? An auxiliary aid to help the assimilation of this knowledge. The knowledge is already here. To own it up, to own up this knowledge, I can help myself by doing nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is contemplation. So the contemplation is done from the standpoint of I. And that is what is being here done. Aham ekaha. Aham avyayah. Aham ekah, aham avyayah, and aham jnata, aham sakshi. This is the contemplation. First, you cannot do this contemplation because these words are unknown. What is jnata? What is sakshi? What is, all this? We don't know. But once we study this and we know this, then we can repeat to ourselves. No, 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 I'm not getting embroiled in this situation because what am I? Sakshi. I'm not going to go here. We remind ourselves. And we remind ourselves in the waking state, and we remind ourselves in the meditating state as well. We keep reminding ourselves. And sometimes we plunge in because the old orientations are out to play. They are out to play, and the old orientations, they, by mistake, grab the gift from avidya, self-ignorance. And then what? You treat the gift like a live grenade. Even now, sometimes, I mean, the ravages of the World War II has been so bad. Even now, sometimes they dig in a plot. I read this recently on the news. They were just wanting to build a house, so there was already a house standing there. And then this family, they got that it was an old house which was not inhabitable, so they got that demolished, and then they dug a new foundation. And as the workers were digging the new foundation, they found two live grenades there in a dormant form. And in fact, they had gone to survey the land and how the foundation had been dug, and then they found these grenades. And then before the children could get a hold of them, or before somebody could just by mistake detonate it or something like that, the bomb squad had to be called, the area evacuated. So first they safely disengaged those two grenades, and then they searched the area for additional ammunition for a long time before they could then release it back to the family and the workers to come back and work to declare after declaring it safe. So like this, there are you think that okay, I have not accepted this gift. So the orientations are like live grenades. Somewhere they are there. They may go off. So and then so these gifts themselves are like live grenades. So you catch the gift by mistake, but then you realize it's hot coal. How do you deal with hot coal? You throw it back. You don't want the hands burnt. Oh, the hands got burnt, doesn't matter. Wash them under cold water, put some balm, cream, whatever it is. These orientation makes one commit the same error of accepting a gift that is a live wire. But then I wake up. Sometimes even after I accept the gift and I wake up, I return the gift and say, no, thank you. It may look pleasant right now. Yes, I really feel like blaming a few people right now. But that joy, so called joy of blaming the people right now, will get converted to sorrow, acrimonious feelings, and resentment, which I don't want. So, back to you, I throw it back. I throw it back in Ajnanam's face. That is the idea. And so, that is contingent upon contingent upon knowing the I as the Sakshi. Knowing the I as the Sakshi. I don't know what happened to the where did it go? 1 minute, let me find it. In knowing the I as a Sakshi, I have to know this. I have to know the I as a Sakshi, and when I know the I as a Sakshi, then it is easy to refuse the gifts. And even if I get embroiled in the gift, then it is very, very, it's very, very easy, very quick to just say, I am not going to accept this gift. I'm not going to accept this gift. I'm going to let this gift go. I can do without it. And that is contingent upon knowing aham ekaha, aham sukshmascha, aham jnata, aham sakshi. The aham goes in front of all of them. Aham jnata, aham sakshi, aham ekaha, aham sukshmascha. I'm not an object. I am the only thing that there is. I am the knower. I am the Sakshi and the witness. And I am subtle. I'm not an object. I cannot objectify. I'm not able to objectify myself. And then I need not objectify myself. That is also there. I need not objectify myself. Why? Because I am, because I am self-evident. Only things that are not self-evident have to be objectified. If the self is self-evident, then it doesn't have to be objectified. It need not be objectified. So aham sat, then this is all these. This ekah sukshmah jnata sakshi is in relation to the jagat. But the jagat itself comes and goes. Jagat is not permanent. Jagat comes, jagat goes. Jagat is not here forever. And so therefore, aham ekah sakshi. Ekah, why you have to say? Because you are surrounded by anekah. You are surrounded by so many names and forms. And then aham sukshmaha, because you are surrounded by gross things that are objects. Jnata, because the relationship between myself and the things that surround me is the one of knower, and the other things are objects of knowledge. Sakshi, I am even the perceiver of everything that cannot be easily objectified, such as hunger, thirst, and various moods within the body. The body is also part of the Jagat. And then without the Jagat, what am I? Will I also come to an end? No. I am the unchanging existence. Avyayaha. Na vyeti iti avyayaha. Vyeti means changes. Changes, transforms, becomes small, becomes big. Udeti, astameti, rises, sets, born, gone. All this I am not. Aham sat, sat which is avyaya. That sat which is sat as well as avyaya, that is a compound, karmadharaya compound. So that the sat which is avyaya I am. And so that avyaya, that changeless I am. So the Jagat comes and goes, Jagat rises, Jagat falls, Jagat is here today, Jagat is gone tomorrow, and I am not gone with the Jagat. I am Sat, I am Avyaya, unchanging I. Sadavyaya. And then the author says, Tadaham. This is who I am. Na atra sandehaha. And what kind of a knowledge is this? It is free of doubt. This knowing has to be free of doubt. And so I have to be able to tell myself in relation to the known universe, I am the knower, I am the objectifier, I am subtle, the universe is gross, and then what else? I am the witness of everything that happens without and within. And then when there is nothing to behold, when there is nothing to interact with, then in sleep, what am I? In sleep, I am unchanging Sat. I am that Ishvara. I am the source of the universe, which is unchanging Sat. Tadaham vicharaha tadaham atra na sandehaha. There is no doubt of this I am. This is the contemplative verse after knowing the meaning. So this kind of an identification with the aham, that is subtle, that is the knower of everything, that within and without, that is the objectifier of everything, and whose essential lakshana, whose essential nature is that of existence. It simply is, and it is conscious. Conscious has been brought. Chit has been brought in the words Jnata Sakshi, and here it is Sat Avyayaha. Avyayaha also we can say Anantaha, Anandaha. Because it is unchanging, it is forever, it is a source of Ananda. So, ahamekaha sukshmascha jnata sakshi sadavyayah. So here it is Swarupa Lakshana, the Swarupa of the Atman is pointed out. It is Sat and it is Avyaya, and it is in relation to something to be known. It is the knower. It is consciousness as Sakshi. And then what else? In this, and then in relation to the Jagat, the Jnata and the Sakshi have more of a dynamic role, and they are illumining everything. And then this is the latent truth. and this is the Swarupa Lakshana. And then this has to be understood. The I has to be equated with all this without a shadow of doubt, without a shadow of uncertainty, without error, without vagueness. And this is how the vichara has to be conducted. Vicharaha soyam idrishaha. A very brilliant introduction to Atma Vichara, which is Aham Vichara. And then these verses will delineate the various ways in which the mix-up is made. And then there is a little bit of these verses can also be, this section of Aparoshanubhuti can be renamed what? Can be subtitled Ode to Atma Ajnanam because what does Maya do here? I think, who was it? I think it was Keats or somebody who wrote this poem, Ode to a Grecian Urn. So here, Ode to Atma Ajnanam. So this is these are the verses here from 17 to 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. Atma vinishkalo hyekah deho bahubhiravritah. Atma vinishkalo hyekah deho bahubhiravritah. तयोरैक्यं प्रपश्यन्ति किमज्ञानमतः परम् तयोरैक्यं प्रपश्यन्ति किमज्ञानमतः परम्. So this is the typical what is that pattern that is going to be followed in the coming verses. The first line is going to delineate what the Atma is. And the second line is going to have a sarcastic twist about how the people prapashyanti, meaning it is plural. Everybody, how everybody makes this error of accepting the dubious gifts, the dubious danam of Atma Ajnanam. Hey, that rhymes. So the dubious danam of Atma Ajnanam. So these people are keeping on accepting. These people means the author is lamenting how can you make, when there is so much difference between Atma and Anatma, how can you make it one? Make within quotes, okay? So let's look at this verse. What is the Atman? Vinishkalaha. Nishkalaha. Visheshena Nishkalaha. Kala means what? Kala means having parts. Like the moon has kalas. So now, what is that? We had the full moon, and then now it is waning kala. We are in the waning phase. And so it will wane, and then on the 17th we'll have zero moon, meaning not visible. It is there. It's not that it's a zero moon, but it's not that the moon has become zero, but the moon is not is turning away, so it is not borrowing the sunlight to and it is turning away, and so therefore the sun is not falling on the moon to light it up. So that we can say the moon has kalas. An orange has segments, kalas. And even the human being has 15 kalas, various aspects, mind, body, limbs, karmendriya, jnanendriya, ahankara, ego, all these things, I notions, all these are called kalas. But what about Atma? Please tell me how many parts it has. No part. It will not have any part in having parts. Because, why? Because it is whole. And we can no longer, after the studying the 16th verse, we can no longer say it is whole. I am whole. I, the Atma, is free of parts. Free of parts. Totally free of parts. Because it is, and he, Yasmat, why? Because it is one non-dual reality. Now, one non-dual reality it is, and it is ekaha, no parts, and it is one. One means you can say half, one fourth. You can make it into fractions. But here it is one and non-dually one, so therefore no fractions at all. There is not even a fraction of fractions because it is non-dually one. Therefore, it is got, it was enough to say Nishkalaha, but Vinishkalaha. It is, it is the only thing that has no parts because it is one non-dual reality. And what about the body? The deha bahubhihi avritaha. The body is surrounded by many, many things. Avritaha, covered. Covered, you can't say covered, it is surrounded by, equipped with many, many parts. You ask anybody who practices medicine, and you will know, because now there is the areas of specialty have grown and grown and grown. From the podiatrist all the way to the neurologist, all of them are waiting for you from toe to head. They are waiting for you with their boards. They have put their shingles up, and it's all for you and your body. Oh, I have ankle pain. No, 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 the podiatrist says that I'm just dealing with the foot. Go to the ankleologist and go to them. No, don't go to the foot doctor. And then everybody has so many degrees. OMG, they're all have multiple degrees. They have specialized. There is a hand surgeon, and then there is all these things, and then that is, any kind of problem in the palm of the hand, you can go. If anybody ever needs surgery, you go to a hand surgeon. Very delicate the nerves are, so how to perform surgery on the hand without really severing the sensation, that's a very delicate job. So there is a hand surgeon, and there is a migraine specialist who just specializes in migraines. And then there is a sleep specialist. He or she studies your sleep all the time, puts you on electrodes, and makes you sleep in front of them. A very disconcerting thought, to sleep in front of somebody who is awake. And it's kind of creepy. But still, that's what you're supposed to do because you can't sleep by yourself. So you succumb and you surrender. And then you go to sleep, and they study the sleep pattern, and how many dreams you had, and how much REM state, all these things. And the body has so many parts that cannot even be counted. And even if you take any organ, liver, the liver is not just one thing, it's also made up of parts. And then it has all these things, it has enzymes, and then that if they are elevated, that means something is happening to the body. It's an indication of kidney failure. All these things are there, and then each one is connected to something else. And kidneys are not just kidneys, they also are divided into parts. They also have, and if you take one kidney, there are many, many parts, and anything and everything can go wrong in these parts. And then all of these together are called the body. And the brain itself, so much to study. And even now they don't know what is it that causes this, what is it that causes that. They don't know. They just know generally the parts. They've studied a lot, and they know the parts of the brain responsible for speech, parts of the brain responsible for reasoning, all these things. And in dementia, they have been able to divide the kinds of dementia. They have been able to divide, and they say this kind of dementia, you lose the speech. In this kind of dementia, you lose the ability to come to logical conclusions. All this they have divided. So dehaha bahubhihi avritah. In one deha, you see, it has so many components. countless components, and not a single, not one person can know all of them. Even this whole, what should I say, a bevy of doctors cannot really figure out this one person. You can see that sometimes they have the patient manifests with some various kinds of ailments, and all these ailments you don't know what these ailments are. You have no clue what these ailments are. And since you don't know these ailments, you just have to keep running tests. And you consult this specialist, that specialist, all the specialists gather in the hospital and in the patient's room. Still, they are not able to figure out why. Bahubihi avritaha. So many components, and each one is further and further and further divisible. Then you can go on dividing it, you can go on dividing it, thereby multiplying the complexity of what this person is having. Can keep on dividing, keep on dividing, keep on dividing. And then at the end, what? Nothing. This is what it is. It is made up of parts. Deha bahubhihi avritah. So tell me now, what is the similarity between Deha and Atma? Hmm? What is the similarity?
Nothing.
No
Nothing.
similarity.
Exactly. No similarity. It took a while, but at least the answer came. No similarity. Where is the similarity? There is nothing in common. Zero common. Zero points of commonality. Nothing even remotely similar. Atma one, Deha many. And not only that, even one Deha, there are many, 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 countless components, each one relating to something else, and then each one is further and further divisible. Atma indivisible. And then not only that, if one body is so complex, how many bodies are there in the universe? Don't say 8 billion, because that is just human beings. Think of all the animals, big cats. Think of the dog variety, hyenas, and what else? Wolves and all that. And then think of bears. And then think of all the small animals, and think of all the insects that scurry away. Think of all these things. It's just huge. So many bodies, and each body is a complex entity made up of many parts. Nothing in common with the Atma. That is the only thing. And then that is one. We can't say only thing right now, because right now the author is taking us to through a process. The only thing will come in the next verses. So right now he's just pointing out Atma is one, bodies are many, and even in a single body there are many, many, many parts. Many parts are there. And therefore what? Therefore still, despite this, tayoho aikyam prapashyanti. Prakarshena pashyanti. Helplessly, somehow by some miracle, people see the aikya, the oneness between the body and the Atma. How? How do they see the oneness between the body and the Atma? How is this possible to mistake the two? Kim ajnanam ataf param? This is a rhetorical question. Aho, alas, look at this karya, look at the effects of this ajnanam. Ataf param. Ataf param means, what can be greater than this maya? What can be greater than this ajnanam that manages to confuse you? And not just you, everybody in the universe. It manages to confuse one from disidentifying from the Atma. And then what? Identifying with the body. Even though the body and the Atma have 0 points of commonality or even similarity, nothing at all, absolutely nothing, and still this mistake is committed. Still, this is being, this is the problem. Still, this mistake is committed. Still, this mix up happens. I think of myself as the body. Oh no, something is happening to me. Even after uh, Shravanam, this is not going to go, and it is takes a long time to go. So therefore here the first verse in this segment, what does it say? It says it's going step by step. So first thing we have to know is body is many. Body has many parts and there are many bodies. Atma is one impartite, partless reality. I am that Atma. Aham, we had already seen in verse number 16. And so I have to identify with that and not keep on accepting dubious presents, gifts from Atma Ajnanam. Next one. Are we on 17 or 18? 18, yes. आत्मा नियामकश्चान्तः देहो बाह्यो नियम्यकः आत्मा नियामकश्चान्तः देहो बाह्यो नियम्यकः तयोरैक्यं प्रपश्यन्ति किमज्ञानमतः परं तयोरैक्यं प्रपश्यन्ति किमज्ञानमतः परम्. So another thing about the Atma, another truth about the Atma is being revealed in verse number 18. Atma niyamakaha cha antaha. So two things about the Atma are being revealed. One is Atma is niyamakaha, niyanta. Niyamakaha means what? That which is in the role of being the one who manages everything, controls everything. Niyanta. Antaryami is a name for Atma. Ishvara obtaining as the Atma is called Antaryami. Antastishtan yamayati. Sitting within. No, not really that it is sitting, it's all figurative, okay? Yeah. So, remaining within. Antastishtan yamayati. That which controls all the movements, itself unmoving. Controls here as though. As Ishvara, without doing anything, the very presence of this consciousness is makes it have the role of being what? Niyamaka. Makes it have this as though role. Role we have to say as though. Makes it has this role of being a Niyamaka, being the one that is in the form of the inner controller, in whose presence the ears function, that which lights up the ear to hear, that which lights up the eye to see, that which lights up everything. That is the one who is all knowledge. We already saw that. And that all knowledge allows the brain to function in its way, allows the eyes to function in their own way. It lights up, it equips all the parts of the body to do what they are supposed to do. Atma niyamakaha antascha antaha cha. Antahacha means what? It is discernible within the body, mind, sense complex. Discernible means what? As Sakshi. As Sakshi, I can identify with that consciousness alone. I am, I know. That is how it is discernible, not any other way. I am and I know. This is how it is discernible, and this Atma is the Sakshi. This is how it is discernible. And then In this ascertainment, what happens? It is that which blesses the eyes to see. It is that which empowers the ears to hear. It is the eye of the eye. It is the ear of the ear. It is the mind of the mind. It is the that which allows me to speak. That is the Atma, without doing anything. It is everything. It manages for everything to happen on its own, without without the um, without the participation of anything else. And then, so without anything else trying to hook into the Atma, it just is. Simply is. And so therefore what? So therefore, what do? We say that Atma is Niyanta. Simply is. And then what about the Deha? Deha is Niyamya. There is a connection, an as though connection between the body and Atma. Niyamya. The body is coming under the under the control of Ishvara, of the laws of Ishvara, Atma. And Atma here as Ishvara, as non-separate from the Creator. So the body performs certain actions, the body breathes, the body digests the food, all these things, the pranic functions and the functions of the jnanendriyas, the functions of the karmendriyas happen, and they don't happen randomly. They happen in a concerted fashion, and then so this is what is called niyamya. The body is controlled. Atma, so to speak, is the controller. We have to see much more, because otherwise we come away with thinking that it is controlled. So we have to see that more. Now we are getting out of time. So therefore, we will continue next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.